Hey man, what's your problem? You bumped into me.
Fuck that, you bumped into me.
Fuck that, fuck you.
What's going on, all you physical fiends? My name is Mason.
And my name is Grayson.
And welcome to The Modern Dude.
A podcast by dudes, for dudes, helping dudes become better dudes.
Dude!
We're guys. We have egos and testosterone aplenty. But putting your hands on somebody, that's never, ever it. We should be working towards diffusing the situation and making the mindset about being the bigger man. Or in this case, dude.
Very well said.
Did you see what I did there?
Yeah, you did. Great.
Because bigger man is the phrase, but we're the modern dude, so I said bigger dude.
Dude.
Did you like that?
I did like that.
I did that for you.
You did great.
Thanks. I hate when you say that.
You love me, though.
You did great.
So we're talking about dudes getting into physical altercations. We're talking about fights and, the do's and don'ts. Mostly don'ts,
Yeah.
but there's a couple times when it's okay.
Dudes and don'ts.
Dudes and don'ts.
I'm back to it again.
God, you're just all over
Just
it.
going to try the whole episode to slide the word dude in as much as possible.
I mean, my mother's was a pre-K teacher for 25 years.
Yeah.
She's retired now, but one of the biggest lessons that she taught to her 4 and 5-year-olds was keep your hands to yourself.
Sure.
And it's like the easiest fucking lesson.
Yeah.
But it's like at some point, we get out of grade school and we get out of college or whatever, and then you just kind of forget some of those like basic ass lessons.
Mason Unleashed.
And you just start losing your head about stupid shit.
Yeah.
You forget these fundamental core things that we learned when we were literally children. And you start, you get a hot head and you start fucking smacking people around. And of course, there's kids that have done it throughout school, and they get sent to the principal a lot.
Right.
But like, it's a basic fucking fundamental thing.
Yeah, I think like when you're a kid and you're being told those very like base level things. You're a child, so there's a lot of innocence there and whatever. But like, obviously, once you get to middle school, there's more bullying. In high school, there's more things like that, and that's based on so many different things. Like people that are bullies, a lot of the time are bullied in their home life, are bullied in other types of ways that have like affected them mentally. But also a lot of bullies, I think, or like when you get into physical altercations when you're in school or things like that, that's really, a lot of that's really based on peer pressure. A lot of that's based on like other kids being like, all right, well, you're going to get picked on unless you also pick on others. And it's like a weird mob mentality thing. And like, you're not even a violent person or anything like kid or anything like that. But you're like, I feel like I have to be because I want to fit in with the cool kids or I want to whatever.
The cream rises to the top kind of thing. It's like, I got to be like the toughest dude, or, I can't show any weakness, which is, all that shit we talked about before too.
Right.
It's just so basic, but we forget it along the way, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think there are times when there's very few times when it's okay, I think.
Well, yeah, and that's the other part of this too, is like all of that when you're growing up is really, that can be tough, and there's a lot of different factors based around that. But ultimately, once you get older, I think a lot of that shit like stops. Once like people are more like adult, like you can't just be doing that around. Like it's not as cool.
Fucking sent to jail.
Right. It's not as cool,
Yeah.
or it's not as like, you can't get away with that shit. And I think
Consequences. There's bigger consequences the older you get. You know?
right, exactly. And like everybody starts getting bigger too. So all those kids you were picking on that were smaller than you, they start getting growth spurts. They start getting bigger too. And then all of a sudden we're all on an even playing field.
Yeah. There's just like diffusing a situation. I feel like that's the first big point before we get into like when it's like defending someone's
maybe
honor.
okay.
Yeah, diffusing the situation should always be the go-to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the things we just said, like if for nothing else, like there's gonna be real fucking consequences if you lay your hands on someone. And it doesn't take much these days. Like the society we live on, you fucking push somebody and that's
get ready.
Yeah. You get
ready.
The book thrown at you.
It's called paperwork.
So for nothing else that, but also just like it's not good for your own fucking mental to have the mindset that like you can pop off at anything, you know? Like you got to look within yourself and realize what that anger is, you know?
Exactly.
And
that's the only time I think that like that's something that like I think ultimately people have to figure out for themselves. And that's when you can tell that people are like hotheads and have issues and stuff like that. And regardless of if it's from something or not, when you have to look inward, what you need to consider is it sucks that you got anger issues. It sucks that maybe that's based on your past trauma that you've gone through with, a situation you went through, or like family or friends or like bullying or whatever. But at the same time, you have to realize that is your trauma, and whatever you need to do to work on that trauma, you should try to practice, because if you allow that to come outwards and put that on other people, you're now making them a part of your trauma.
Yeah, this is like what's a dude got to do, which I feel like we're kind of bouncing around a little bit, but that's just it's cool because like
that's kind of where it is. Like, it's
like,
that kind of talk. Like it's a sensitive. It's very sensitive, and it's very like, but like you don't want to put your trauma on somebody else. Like, and if your mindset is like, well, I've suffered, so they need to suffer too. It's like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. That's sad. And you have to look inward and try to figure out how to fix that, because now your issues are becoming other people's issues. And especially with bullying, like we were talking about, there's long lasting issues. Like people have been picked on before for just being who they are and like good kids or whatever. And they've been picked on. And that has followed them their whole lives. Like that might not have followed that bully, and now the bully's like a really nice person and like whatever, has a whole family and doesn't think much of that bullying or whatever.
But
people are fucked up about it.
Oh yeah, or on the flip side, there's like kids who are bullies because their parents have bullied them.
Yeah.
You know, their dads have beat them when they were fucking kids and shit. Like, there's so many layers to this, and like, but it still comes down to you're in charge of yourself, like that's another lesson my mother teaches her pre-K kids. It's like, who are you in charge of? She says that she still says that to me sometimes, because like you can be upset about something, you can be annoyed, but like at the end of the day, it's on you how you control your energy. And if you're not in control of that and you lash out and then you put your hands on somebody else, then like you're just setting yourself up for failure over and over and over and over again.
And the moment that you're able to like get, because again, like it's hard to, we're kind of leaning a lot into the bullying and like the younger, like, but that's middle school, high school days, but that's the interim period. Like that's where it happens.
That shit starts though.
That's the inception of it, and like, and I think, but a lot of them don't have the opportunity to get away from maybe a bad domestic life or something like that. And that's hard,
or that's how like you were raised in a fucking, a community that was acceptable.
Right.
Or that was the only way maybe.
Or that was the only way.
And like, luckily for me, I don't have much of that in my past.
Right.
Like,
and we're not saying like that's not like acceptable or something. Like when people are put into scenarios when they're growing up, like they've got no choice, but at a certain point, you do have a choice.
You have to be responsible for your own actions.
At a certain point, you do have a choice to get out of it and move on from it and not be not be a part of it. You know what I mean?
And that, of course, that goes across the board more than just physical altercations,
that's
you know? So there's a bigger lesson there, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I guess that kind of leads us into like, when is it okay to like defend yourself?
Few times.
Yeah. And
we're not saying that like there's not a place for it, because
I'm not
obviously
advocating for it, because
no, we're not at all.
But like, it's like when someone's messing with your friends, your family, your loved ones, like your spouse or your girlfriend or whatever, like, and only if they're physical with that person.
Exactly.
That's the only time my blood's curdling and my vision goes red, you know?
If somebody puts in my opinion, the only time for something violent to like start to happen on your part is if somebody else has already started it. Like if somebody, not that like,
and even then, like, last resort.
Yeah, and there needs to be. I mean, like,
because there's even,
if somebody's like, if we're at a bar somewhere, somebody's like in my girlfriend's face and is like screaming at them, I'm gonna go over and be like, "Yo, you need to back up." Yeah. Like, I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna separate it, and like, you need to do that.
But that's different than like coming in swinging because the girl's like hitting on your girl, you know?
Yeah,
or
a girl.
Hey, well,
I mean,
a guy.
Yow. But yeah, I think like I'll try to separate it. But then on top of that, it's also like it really comes down to like, you need to step off. And then if they want to get in your face, like let them be the one. Let them make the first move, because
even if your ass gets knocked out, they're going to jail.
Right.
You know, like,
right. Like that's going to be on.
And them. I had a friend the other day. This guy was like talking to his girl, and he was getting like too forward with her, and then he like came and was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And the guy kind of was like, "Nothing's wrong, man." And they kind of like got in each other's faces a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was talking to Mary Grace, my fiance, and he was like, "I'm never going to be the guy that swings at anything.
Right.
I'm going to get punched and then I'm going to sue him."
Right.
Which is like totally valid, but like,
which is valid, but like,
that is not the way most people think.
No. And there's a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, let's just throw it out there. Alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
well, that
gets people riled up. Drugs in general, like any sort of substance is like going to like get you, can get people really riled up. And that's a lot of the time where fights come from. Like, I don't know a ton of sober people that have like gotten into a ton of like altercations unless they're on TV, and it's called MMA. So, it's like, I don't know. For me, it really is situational. And another thing, like we know about this because we've worked in bars for a very long time. We lived in New York City. We've seen some crazy, just random violent shit just on our casual commute. On my day off to go to the shoe store, maybe do something nice for Grayson and buy a pair of shoes, I've seen like two guys rip each other's like clothes off and like wrestle around naked on the subway, like punching each other and shit. Like, and I'm like, just another day in the city.
Yeah.
The bars. I mean, working in bars, seeing people get trashed and like altercations and stuff. It's crazy.
I saw a guy pick up a mug, not a pint, a mug.
Yeah.
A full glass, thick rim.
Sure.
And huck it at a guy's head.
Yeah.
He missed, thank God.
Sure.
But if that would have hit him, that guy could have died.
Yeah, dude.
Like this.
Like a fucking mug shattering and something getting in his eye or something like that.
Or just
like,
hit him in the temple. Like, oh my God, that would crush your face.
Yeah, that would like destroy you.
And he missed, but he hit our window at the bar. And it shattered the window. Just
dude, I remember the front door. Yeah, I remember that.
God. So it's like, and then the guy got the cops called on him, obviously, and he got fucking arrested.
Sorry.
And like this dude was like, he came in, he was pretty chill. I actually had a decent conversation with him, and then he got kind of drunk. And then he like got hot-blooded about some stupid shit.
Of course.
And we separated him. And then on his way out, he took his mug and threw it at the guy's head.
What a fucking God.
Like,
dude, that's
what?
So,
like, why?
Stuff, man.
And like you said, so much is because you're under the influence, and it's just so fucking dumb. So it's,
if you get like that, maybe don't drink.
Yeah, know thyself. It's the thing we preach more than anything on this thing.
Know thyself, my friend.
Yeah, don't like. I get it. Like, you want to have a couple drinks, take the edge off,
That doesn't sound like it's taking the edge
No,
off. That sounds like it's putting the edge on.
Yeah. It's not alcohol and substances are not an excuse for you to become a jackass.
Correct. Yeah, and I think of those scenarios where it is maybe not respectable, but like necessary to put, physical action forward, like it really has to do with seeing what the situation is and being able, and like knowing yourself is key because you're able to assess the situation in quick time. Where like if somebody's if they're coming on friends or something like that and someone's trying to get whatever, you ask them to back off, they don't. Now we're starting to get into a thing, but let them sort of do it. I know it's like very hard in the moment with like adrenaline and stuff like that, but like
don't just try to diffuse is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Really try to look at someone and be like,
hey, we're not trying to
don't want to do this. Think about what's going on right now. You don't know me. I don't know you. We don't want any problems. You're fine. There's no reason for us to do this. There's absolutely no reason for us to. I've been in situations like that where I've said exactly that, and I swear to God, if you look them right in their eyes and you go, I am so sorry for whatever it is that you're going through or what you got or what it is, but like we don't want any trouble with you. We have no fucking qualms with you.
Yeah.
We're good. I'm not putting my hands up. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
All right? Please. Like we don't want any problems. That person, I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, they've always backed off.
Yeah.
And it's like,
how often are you getting in these?
When I worked at Pioneer's Bar in Midtown, there was quite a few situations like that.
Yeah.
And we had 2 security guys on at every single night. And this wasn't a club. It was just a bar.
Yeah.
So it's like, there was always shit like that. And like, I've just been in a lot of those scenarios. And like, almost every single time they see, because they want you to
they want you to
reciprocate. They want you to give them
a reason.
Exactly. They want you to do that.
That's a phrase. Give me a reason.
Give me a reason. And if they, make my day, and if you don't, and you look at them and you actually like hit them with a real, like, we don't have to do this. There's no reason for it. A lot of the time they'll be like, okay. You take us because you're giving them a second to think about it.
Because you get caught up in the moment, and this is kind of like we've talked about, like stopping the domino effect. It can be applicable across a lot of things. It's just like, okay, we're gonna not do this. We can all take a step back, think about what's going on, and we won't get into a legal thing after we beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, and the last moment where it's maybe applicable to step in is. And this one's also very specific, but another thing that we deal with living in New York a lot of the time is if you're seeing someone like altercations, like strangers on the street or altercations where like it seems like somebody is feeling uncomfortable or in trouble and somebody else is sort of like bullying them or like being away, and it's very situational. But like our friend Jeff,
shout out Jeff Winslow for being a fucking hero. He watches this too, so love you, Jeff.
Shout out to the Scotty boy.
Yeah, he was on the train and he saw this homeless guy screaming at this mother and son that he was going to fucking kill them, is what he said. And they were in like 2 seats, and they were like, he was like standing right in front of them and was yelling this stuff at them. And Jeff was like, I gotta step in.
Yeah, you can't not do anything.
This guy is Looney Tunes, and he's actually threatening them with violence. So he told him to back off. The guy attacked him, and they got into a knockdown, drag-out brawl on the train, so much that when they pulled in the station, like everyone ran off the train. Like, it was bad. Jeff and him were both bloody as fuck. Jeff had to go to the hospital because this guy had like funky diseases. He was in the hospital for like 2 days.
He was sort of like a homeless kind of psycho
he
dude,
got like an infection from the guy's nails. It's gross. Like that, like a noble cause like that. But even then, like Jeff has serious trauma from that now. He still doesn't like riding the subway, even like a year later from that shit.
Well, fuck yeah.
You know?
So it's like, he did the right thing, and I don't think he'd ever take that back.
I don't think he would do it. I don't think he would do it any differently.
No,
but at the same time, like, because it came to scraps, like, he had to defend himself and the people around him. Like, there's like nothing else you can do there.
And there was and that's a moment where you have to step in and you have to try to do something.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when you're looking around, if you're seeing, and it's also a situation where, if we were to really get into specifics, it's also a situation where that is a woman and her kid.
Yeah.
Like
that's pretty specific.
If it's 2 dudes, who are like headbutting each other on the side. I'm like, let the rhinos deal with it the way the rhinos need to deal with it. There's no reason you need to step in and be like, guys, no fighting.
No,
like,
you're going to get laid out too.
Like, fuck those guys. They're just being idiots anyway. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know what, like, they might be fucking like best friends or brothers that just needed to fucking punch each other out and just be like, all right, we're good.
But it's like not
that's
not my business.
Not that that's like the vibe either.
Not
like
my
that's
business,
not the
my
way.
problem.
But like if that's them, that's them. It's in a situation where somebody is obviously like defenseless and somebody needs to step in or something like that, you know.
Someone's laying hands on my friends or family or Mary Grace. That's I'm gonna have a real hard time laying them out.
It's a hard.
But that's pretty much it for me. And then the last thing I think we can say on this is like, you never know what the other person has if you get into a fight with
That's
someone.
another thing too.
Like, I got into a fight. The one real fight I've ever been in was I was like 19 years old, and these guys, it was so stupid. It was all bravado machismo. We were walking down the sidewalk, and I was drunk. They were drunk. My friends were behind me, and my brother. And my other brother was ahead of me. And we like bumped into each other on the sidewalk because we wouldn't move out of each other's way.
Cool.
Yeah. And then turned around and we did the back and forth like, you bumped me, man. It's like, no, you bumped me.
You should not have told the story. This is not good.
No, I'm just saying. At the end of the day, when we got in the fight and after it was over, we were all talking about it, and I was like, man, that was so stupid because what if the guy had a knife?
Yeah.
You know, what if the guy pulls out a gun?
Or a gun. You know, it's really easy to get guns these days.
Yikes.
That's a different conversation for a different day.
Yeah. But like, that's what I'm getting after. It's like, it was really dumb for me to get into that fight because I don't know if that guy pulls out something crazy and then I'm dead because of my stupid ego.
Right.
You know, like.
And then like, not only are maybe you harmed, the people you're with might be too.
Yeah.
And then it's just, you know, it's like every single time, always, even if they're wrong, even if they did the fucked up thing, to look them right in the eyes and be like, hey, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, man.
Defuse.
We don't want any problems. Just really practicing that. I have seen it. I have seen it in practice. I have seen it work, not just from me, but from other friends and people like living in this city, working at these bars, being in a lot of those situations. It really does work. It can work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it works every time because some people just don't give a fuck and they're going to go all the way, or they're going to sucker punch you with a mug throw. But at the end of the day, if you're the one that's trying to diffuse it, you're going to feel better. And I swear a lot of the time that person, they just had a moment of weakness or they're fucked up and they needed somebody to say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's also been times like you diffuse situations, literally that same fight, another guy, the same guy that we got into a fight with came up to my brother because Jeremy and I looked pretty alike. We both had the long hair.
Yeah.
And he like started being like, was it you? Did you get in and find me? And Jeremy was like, he diffused the situation. He was like, no, man. But you know what? I'm going to help you find him. And he was like, cool, man. Thanks.
Right.
Which is like,
or like, you know what?
Like,
it wasn't me. It wasn't him. I swear, I saw him run down that way somewhere.
Yeah, you know?
He's a long-haired guy. Kind of looks like me, right?
Yeah.
I know. But no. He ran that way. Far that way.
Yeah.
Run as fast and as far as you can that way right now.
So, like, it's just never... It's really 95, 99% of the time, it's just not worth it.
No,
because you just don't know what they're going to... You don't want the legal shit. You don't want what they might pull on you. You don't want to get fucked up in any ways, you know? Like, it's just so not worth it.
So many things to it. So that's our take on physical altercations in
fights, guys. Hands to yourself. Pre-K, one-on-one.
Pre-K.
101.
Golden rule shit, you know. Treat others like you want to be treated.
Dude, that is literally like the three things that we've talked about. All things that my mom says.
It's the first thing you're
Golden rule,
ever taught, you know.
Keep your hands to yourself. And
don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's what my mom
teaches.
She's
like the pre-K kids. Don't be dicks. All right?
All right. Hey, Johnny, stop being a dick.
You've got potential to be a dick, Johnny. I can tell. No more.
Keep your hands.
No more.
Hey, put the block down, Johnny.
Johnny, you're never going to get laid once it's time if you keep this dick shit up. All right?
No more. Crying? You're crying, you'll cry a lot more.
You'll cry a lot more when you're alone at 40, Johnny. Don't be a dick. Okay. Well,
transition.
That's all we have for today. hope you dudes enjoyed the discussion. We are really loving this, obviously. Tyler's been amazing lately. I don't even know if you can tell, but he's like adding a new thing every single time. He's trying new techniques.
Some pictures
and whatnot of the studio.
Yeah.
The process. We've actually got the homie Rachel
Teleon.
She's doing our what is this even called? Our camera cutting. That's, man.
You're doing great.
You sound like an asshole.
Transitions.
Transitions and whatnot. Shouts to Rach. And yeah, if you want more of this, obviously you can visit us on all social media platforms. Grayson and Mason, you can go to graysonmason.com. You can see all of our latest content. You can leave any comments, any questions, please, anything that you have, throw it our way. We'd love to talk about it on the actual show. And just converse in general about it more and more, and have discussions about all these things in general.
Please hit us up with questions and comments. We want to hear your take, because like this is the kind of stuff. All the things we talk about are like things that are discussions. Like sometimes we sound like, I hope we don't sound preachy, but we're like talking to you for sure. But we want to hear the feedback. We want to hear if like, I don't agree with that take. I've had some friends give us good feedback. Like, I don't agree with that. I'm like, I love it. Tell me more.
Right.
So like, if you think that like there's more instances of violence that might be worth it, then let's fucking hear it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the Modern Dude is an open floor discussion between me and Mason, because we're best friends and we're just having a discussion about it. And these are things that we think based on our experiences of growing up and living in New York and being bartenders, but we want to hear more instances. We want to have those discussions. We want to be like sort of challenged a little bit and talk about it more,
because we strive to be the modern dude, but we are not the penultimate. This guy. We are not nearly at the top of the mountain. We're all growing too. So
exactly, all self-effacing.
Yep, for sure.
So yeah, and you can also see us on Instagram and follow us there, which we would really, really love. That's at The Modern Dude,
and on YouTube at Grayson and Mason still.
Yeah, baby. And don't forget, do your due diligence.